Hello, I'm Notes. I'm going to try something a little bit different this week. I don't have an album to review this week. It totally wasn't because I was busy watching a cartoon for kids. So instead, seeing as it's post-Record Day store, I decided to go over some of the finds I got during the big haul. Now unfortunately, I couldn't actually get out to the record store day. I had family matters that I had to attend to, so I went the next day just to pick through whatever was left. There was nothing left. But I did manage to grab a good selection of records, and so I'm going to show you guys what I got. So first up, I found Unfortunetly's Old Love Dies Hard. This is an amazing album from the German progressive rock band. A lot of people think they're kind of the German version of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. They have that kind of a symphonic feel to them. I always thought they were kind of an ELP if ELP was a little bit more focused in what they were doing instead of just kind of noodling around, which I love the noodling around, but Unfortunetly seemed to kind of hold their ground a little bit better, and so this is one of their better albums, and if you haven't checked it out, you should. Speaking of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, I found their first album for like $1, and I couldn't say no. I already technically have this album, but it's up at the family cottage. If I wanted to go get it, I have to spend more in gas to drive up there to grab it, so figured might as well have 2 copies of it. One here, one up north. I kind of like it. This also has one of my favorite songs on it, Knife's Edge. This is one of those songs that kind of really hooks you, and I love it. So again, great album. And I don't know why, but lately I've been in an Electric Light Orchestra. You know, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Electric Light Orchestra. So ELO, again, couple of bucks. Not their greatest, but it does have one of my favorite songs from them, Don't Bring Me Down. Very radio friendly. You hear it on the radio all the time, but whenever it comes on, I'm always just pumping, so I really love this album. All the other kind of songs, they're okay. ELO has definitely put out better albums before this, but this one definitely has that, you know, that pumping song, Don't Bring Me Down. So great find, just a couple of bucks, couldn't say no. And this one I haven't actually heard it yet. It's Seasons 2. Now the reason why I picked this guy up was it has kind of the Roger Dean kind of an artwork on the name there, so I had to try to give it a listen. He's usually pretty good in their albums. So I haven't actually heard it yet. It was released back in the late 70s, 1979. I love the kind of gatefold here that it's got. Really nice pictures on the inside. I'll give you guys a look. So lots of different instruments. I have a feeling it's going to sound... Actually, I have no idea how this is going to sound, so I'll let you guys know. If you've heard it, let me know what you guys thought about this. It was just an interesting album that I had to pick up. Okay, so that was it for all the bargain bins. Now on to more of the contemporary, more of the modern stuff that I picked up. And first up, I had to finally pick up this. Godspeed, You Black Emperor. This is one of my favorite albums of the year. Really great graphics. Love it so very much. Comes with the free digital download, can't go wrong. These Canadian musicians are great. It comes with a free poster. It's really nice, but also kind of vulgar, so I'll only show that much. The rest is, you know, typical Godspeed. Very vulgar, very intense, but also very beautiful. So, great find. If you haven't already, have a listen. I've already reviewed this album, so if you want to have a look at what I thought about this more in depth, it's right over here. And speaking of post-rock, I got... Now, I always pronounce this band's name improper. Seguros, I think it is, Seguros. This is one of their better albums. I can never pronounce it. They're always in a foreign language, and I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, great album. Kind of like The Gates of Heaven are opening up, post-rock, very instrumental, very, very great. It even came with a free CD. You know, that's always nice. I guess this was put out in the late 2000s when they were still doing that, still giving out the free CDs and the albums. So great find, really like this. And of course, more of a modern one. Now these are local boys. This is Zeus. This is my favorite album from Zeus. I got into them over in the New Year's because they were playing downtown for New Year's. A friend and I were going to check them out. Unfortunately, the plans fell through. But my love for Zeus really grounded itself. Definitely hipster indie, so if you're into that, I mean, just... Those are the boys, so the graphic really shows kind of what they're all about. it's nice music. That's a good way to put it. It's nice music. It's not overly that thought-provoking. It's not really that intense, but it's nice. Bursting Visions is definitely their best album that I've heard so far, so if you haven't heard or listened to it, have a listen. They actually recorded the entire album live, kind of in their own small studio, and it really adds an organic feel to it. If you haven't checked that one out, definitely do so. And this is going right back to high school. When I saw this in the record store, I chuckled, I laughed, and I had to pick it up. It's Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, and I love the graphics on this. I used to have the CD when I was back, way back. I mean, longer than I want to admit, but just the gatefold of that, here, I'll put it up. It's literally the Black Parade, and we didn't actually get to see the Black Parade on the CD. We saw a little bit on the live concert, and then there's the inside. You know, very melodramatic. I guess it was emo at the time, but this was when they started to go away from their intense, almost metal with that 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge. This one started to get a little bit more poppy, a little bit more accessible, especially with Dead, and one of my favorite songs is Sleep. Really strange to connect with a emo song, but Sleep was one of those songs that I really connected with, so I had to pick this up on vinyl, and it's a great listen. I don't know if I would really recommend this to too many people. It's really more of a niche market, but if you were a teenager in the early 2000s, this is definitely one of the pieces that I connected with, so it was great. And speaking of a album that changed directions of the band, I found Between the Buried and Me's Alaska. It's not their best album, but it is the album that took a progressive movement. All the albums prior to this was very death metal, straight up death metal, really. And this is where they started to dip their toes into the progressive rock movement. You know, songs such as Sketch Skis and even Bathward's Marathon and Medicine Wheel, they started to really try their hand in progressive rock, and from there we see the progressive rock movement of Colors. And so this is kind of the album that started it all, and if I were to start off with a good Between the Buried and Me album, this is where I would start with. Now, the two pieces of the cream of the crop, the two that I found that I just could not believe, were Pink Floyd's Saucer Full of Secrets and Pink Floyd's Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Now, both of these were a little bit more expensive, but the reason behind this isn't an actual release. Let me give you a show. So this is Pink Floyd's Saucer Full of Secrets, and at first I was wondering, like, these were closer to $30 each, and I was wondering why these were so expensive until I actually took out the vinyl, and it's green. So this isn't the official release, these are unofficial releases. I have a feeling they're kind of bootlegged. So Saucer Full of Secrets is green, and Piper at the Gates of Dawn, once I bring this puppy out, there we go. Piper at the Gates of Dawn, it's kind of like a marble gray. So both of these albums I had to pick up, even though I was breaking the bank a little bit, it was very well worth it. These were two of the few Pink Floyd albums I don't have on vinyl, just because they're so hard to find. So, I mean, they came in a little plastic sheet, so I'm going to keep them in the plastic sheet just to kind of keep them in mint. And so those were kind of the big finds at the record store that I had to pick up. And so that's it. That's, I mean, the major haul. If I were to show you any more, I'd be broke. I mean, it's already pretty much ramen noodles and tap water for the rest of the day. But exciting news. Next week, I'm going to do something completely different than right now. It's going to be a double episode. Get ready for that. That's it. Notes out.
If I could begin to be half of what you think of me, I could do about anything. I could even learn how to...
They hurt you? No, I'm okay. Did they hurt you?
Who cares?
I do.